Thank you. My name's Matt, by the way.
I met you. Oh, my mom's house.
Yeah, just making sure.
Yeah, I know who you are. How you doing?
Yeah.
Hey, Facebook, what's up? We about to go live with this Bitcoin.
Check my age.
No.
You got it.
I got you. I got you covered.
Thank you.
Is it better if I stand on this side? No, it's okay. It's fine. Alright, so I'll rewind this a little bit.
Sorry for running.
My brother's
So my name is Adam Carson. I'm Alicia's brother. I've been investing for a very long time in small businesses and my own businesses. And this is the latest thing that I've been investing in. I've been doing it for the last 7 months, and it's completely changed my life. And I'm really just here to share this information. It's something that I've studied every day for the last 7 months. And hopefully you guys will learn what Bitcoin is today. So Bitcoin, so breaking cycles, let me start there. So breaking cycles is basically, when I started doing this, I started to think about how can I get people to really pay attention to what I'm trying to present as far as giving people the education. So breaking cycles to me means every generation has a cycle, right? Going back to our great-great-grandparents and farther on down. Every generation usually does the same thing. Like however your parents did things, that's kind of how you do things. You never really get out of your comfort zone to kind of do something different. So breaking cycles to me means that you got this cycle with every generation that starts, but at some point somebody has to come in and break the cycle as far as how things are normally done. And in my family, that's what I feel like I've been able to do as far as starting a business and investing. And like I've got a lot of my family investing now, so it feels really good to see them benefit off something that that's worked for me, it's proven for me. So breaking cycles is what I'm all about. That's what we're all about. So that's what that means. So let's go ahead and start with Bitcoin education. So does anybody know what Bitcoin is in here? Raise a hand. No, not really. You know a little bit? Okay, cool. So I figured nobody would really know what it is because it's brand new. If you don't know anybody that's doing it, then you really probably wouldn't really know what it is. The news and all these people keep talking about it, but they're not really explaining what it is. So my job today is really to try to help you guys understand what it is. Hopefully by the end of the day, you guys will kind of have a good understanding, or at least you can walk out and tell somebody, you can explain it to somebody, or if you're ready to invest, even greater. So Bitcoin it's a digital currency. So it's like digital money. Just like our US dollars is a currency, Bitcoin is also a currency. So I like to call it a better currency. And I say that because take our US dollars for instance. So you guys have kids and stuff in here? Okay, so every year it seems like things are more expensive. And it's not that things are more expensive, it's just our dollar isn't worth as much as it used to be. So the same gallon of milk that we bought last year, we're getting the same amount, but it costs more. Same for gas. And we wonder why. It's not that things have become more expensive. Like I said, our dollars, it's not, the government makes it weaker when they continue to print it. So Bitcoin's here, and Bitcoin is the opposite. Bitcoin is going up in value every day. So you got a version of money going this way, then you have a version of money going this way. This is US dollars, this is Bitcoin. So this is why a lot of people are talking about it, because it's going to change the way that we use money. And it's happening really fast. I would say the next year or two, a lot of things that we pay for is going to be in some sort of digital form. Bitcoin will probably be the currency that we're using, so we're going to have to learn this one way or another. Whether you want to learn it now, or the people that are putting it off, they're going to be playing catch up later. So it's good that y'all are here because y'all getting pretty much a head start above other people. So let me go to here. So what is Bitcoin? I was already talking about it a little bit. We don't have to really go through some of this stuff. It's kind of, I don't really need to talk about really, but you can read it yourself. But essentially, so Bitcoin, if I wanted to send anybody money right now, I can pull out my phone and I can send it to you no matter where you are. You could be in Australia, you could be halfway across the world. It doesn't matter. If I owed you $500, I can send you $500 in Bitcoin. Okay? Bitcoin has a dollar amount attached to it. So how much a Bitcoin is going to determine what the price of Bitcoin is at the time. If that makes sense. And I've got a calculator I can pull out my phone and show you guys here a little later. So right now, one Bitcoin value, okay, is worth, I think it's around $10,000 right now. Okay? Beginning of the year, one Bitcoin was like $700 and something dollars. This is January 2017. So that's the growth that I was telling you about. So doesn't mean that you have to buy a full Bitcoin. Okay, I'm not saying you have to have $10,000 to do this. You can buy, think of it like a pie, right? You can buy a small piece, a small fraction of a Bitcoin. Okay, and that's what we're doing. Because I mean, nobody's rich in here, so nobody can really buy $10,000 worth of Bitcoin. But so Bitcoin is great because I don't know if you have family out of town or whatever, like the only way to send money to somebody that you're not directly in front of is how? You got to go to Western Union, you got to go to MoneyGram or Cash App or PayPal or something. And Cash App is one of the only ones that's kind of free. You don't really have to pay anything depending on the amount. But all the other ones, they're taking out large chunks of fees in between, even a wire transfer. Like you try to send a wire transfer somewhere, it might take 5 days to get there, and they're going to charge you all this money in between for nothing. All they're doing is just pushing the money through. Like it doesn't make sense. So that's why Bitcoin was really started, was to basically go against like all these middleman people. If I send money to somebody, it's directly between me and you. Like there's no company in between.
That's a good question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah,
go ahead.
So like normally your accounts are always attached to a bank, so that all these transactions are monitored and traced. Is Bitcoin attached to a bank?
So Bitcoin is not attached to a bank, and I was going to get to that. So Bitcoin is decentralized. It's a big word, but decentralized just means that there's no central bank that controls it. When I say central bank, all our U.S. dollars are controlled by one big bank. You know what I'm saying? And they tell you how much you can send to people. You can't spend over 10,000, or they red flag your account and they want to know where you got the money from and all this stuff. Bitcoin is the exact opposite. You can spend as much as you want, as much as you want, anytime you want, and you don't have to get approval from anybody.
We can transfer it to people without even knowing.
Yeah, and it doesn't have your name. Like it doesn't say, like if I send somebody money in here right now, it doesn't say Adam sent money to this person, to Courtney. You know what I'm saying? The bank is gonna see that, and they monitor that stuff. But Bitcoin is completely anonymous, basically. It's associated with a number, and it's not associated with your name. So it's another great thing about it. I mean, you don't have to worry about like having to go through all this paperwork and all this stuff to use your money how you want to use it. So, did that answer your question a little bit?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So, all right. So, all right. So we'll go through this one right here a little bit. You can look at it, but I'm not gonna go through each one. So, anybody got any questions so far? We good?
Good.
Over your head a little bit. Okay.
You said that Bitcoin was a digital currency. So that means there is no physical.
Correct.
Unless I want to exchange it into like a US dollar.
Correct.
We're gonna come back to that.
Okay, cool. Okay. Okay, got you. So there's many benefits of Bitcoin. I went through some of them already, but it not only just benefits us as people, but it benefits businesses as well. So if you have a business, if you accept Bitcoin from somebody, it's great because let's say Walmart and Kroger, all those places we shop. If we swipe our card, that company's getting paid an extra 3 to 5% on top of what you're buying or the money that they're getting. Because Visa and MasterCard, they charge that fee to that company. So they're paying more money every time we swipe. With Bitcoin, the fees are a lot lower than that. So if I'm a business, I want to accept Bitcoin because my fees are lower when someone pays me, and that money that I'm getting today could be worth twice as much tomorrow if the price of Bitcoin continues to go up like it is. So you give your chance just by having it a chance to make more money on top of your money. You cannot do that with US dollars. The next day that dollar might not even be worth $1 anymore. So that's just another bonus of Bitcoin. Like I said, I went through no limits. There's no limits on purchases. You can buy as much as you want. It's not controlled by the government. You're controlling your money. So when you have Bitcoin, you are essentially your own bank. You become your own bank. All right. So it's all done over the internet. So you would download an app on your phone, and it's called a Bitcoin wallet. Did I get there yet? I'm good. So how do you get Bitcoin? I don't know if that's a question anybody's been wondering. How do you get it? So, you got a question?
No, go ahead.
Okay. So there's several ways to get it. You can get it from a Bitcoin exchange, which is basically a website. You go to a website and you put your debit or credit card in there and you buy your Bitcoin. It's that simple. Second way is Bitcoin ATMs. So just like a regular bank ATM, we now have a bunch of Bitcoin ATMs popping up where you can insert your US dollars and you can get Bitcoin out of it. And you can also do the opposite. If you have Bitcoin already, you can take US dollars, you convert your Bitcoin back to US dollars. So we got about 1,400 of them in the United States right now. There's thousands more like in Australia and some of these other countries that have embraced Bitcoin a lot more than the US has so far. But we're starting to figure out like this is the real deal, and we're starting to get a lot more of those. So private seller, that's just like somebody, like if you wanted to buy Bitcoin from me, I would be considered a private seller. So if you don't want to go through any of those other methods, if you know somebody that has some, you can easily just exchange your money for Bitcoin from that person. So
you just send like a transaction through digital?
So I would have my Bitcoin already in my wallet or my bank account, and you would say I want to buy $20 worth of Bitcoin. You would hand me 20 bucks. I'll show you how much $20 will get you, because it'll convert it. You put in 20 bucks, it'll say you can get X amount of Bitcoin for that, and then I move it to your bank account or your Bitcoin wallet. And it's as simple as that.
This is tripping me out back here. I've got a
Just like if it happened and you was in here by yourself.
I have a question.
Okay, go ahead.